And then the page disappeared on me. Hello, hello. I am on this live and I want to talk today about the difference between writing about an experience versus writing about your expertise. I'm Sigrid de Kaas from Sticky Big Marketing. And there are probably different ideas and understandings of what this means exactly. So I want to clear that up, because I've had some examples in the past where it was very clear which would work best for what type of scenario for the persons. So let's dive right into it. I think it is pretty clear from all the other material that I put out there that the first step in the way I work with clients is always to start with an outcome in mind, knowing what you actually want to achieve with your book instead of writing it, just writing. So let's start with the experience. Now I've put that here on the back to give us a bit of a visual here to make it really clear in what I'm talking about. When people write about an experience, what I'm referring to specifically here is, for example, I've had somebody come to me and she said, this and this went wrong when I had some issues around traveling with travel agencies, and I was very frustrated around that, and I've decided if I write a book about it, other people can know about it and it'll make it more likely that they won't experience this difficulty, and if they do, they can follow what I did and have a better understanding of it. Now, as we talked a bit more around that particular experience, that was all the book was to be about, the experience and how she overcame it, the type of steps she took that may be possible for other people to take as well. There is no outcome for her, the writer, in this particular scenario. She has no travel agency, is not involved in the travel industry, and has no product or service around traveling. So to write a book of that kind makes it very disconnected from her herself, who she is and what she does. So there's no outcome for her and no purpose other than sharing an experience. Now, she could write that type of book, and then what it would mean is she would need to do a lot of marketing around that topic and why people should read the book. So the focus in that particular scenario would be purely around book sales to people who'd be interested in that topic. That is not a really large audience, and it does take a fair bit of focus on the marketing of that book, which will give this person only an outcome of book sales. That is the first scenario to share around an experience. The other one was that professional involved working and putting contracts in with professional associations had already written the book. Again, it was around a frustration. The idea was to make more transparent what was happening, what is happening in that particular area of gaining work, gaining contracts with professional associations. The book again came from a negative experience, and the person had just recorded that more or less. As we worked together, we rearranged the direction of that story somewhat so that there would be at least an outcome of what will the reader gain here by reading about how to go about getting contracts around and with and in the area of industrial professional associations. That book went ahead. But again, from that experience in itself, while the book topic and the experience is somewhat related to the person's business, it is not directly connected. Therefore, other than talking about having written a book about this topic, there is no direct connection and path for the person who wrote the book to have an outcome other than I've written a book on this topic. And the third one I want to talk about is in particular, and this does happen, and it is a very emotional area when a person has lost somebody, lost a loved one, particularly fairly early in life. And there is so much emotional and various steps and scenarios happening for a person of that kind that often just thinking about writing a book on that topic already helps the person who had the loss to get through that. Again, it is an experience, and sure, some people may wish to know about that, and it can be very healing for other people to read such a book, totally. For the writer, however, the actual outcome, other than being unloading their own sadness and burden, perhaps by writing, an outcome in terms of a return of the time and perhaps funds put into writing is not guaranteed and can be very small. Again, it is more around this experience, perhaps sharing it. Some people may or may not be interested in reading it. So the focus with a book on that type of an experience topic would again be purely relying on getting the book sales. So really in all those three scenarios, it's going to be the time, the effort, and the money for the writer to focus on book sales. And that can be quite a lot of work for small return. A book is $20, $30. Think of what it might cost in advertising or time to be in social media and market such a book. Now, here's a much better solution. I've put here in red, interviewing medical professionals. That's a very different scenario, different story. A dad found that there were some issues with the child's health, and they couldn't resolve them in their immediate area. And he went about the path of talking to a lot of medical professionals. He was getting so many different scenarios, tips, ideas that he himself, it helped him to talk to medical professionals. And he went about it very cleverly. He actually interviewed those medical professionals. And he discovered that he himself had fun with it. And he discovered how much it helped him, his immediate family, his extended family. And all of a sudden, people were asking him about, what do you know about this? Who did you talk to about that? So he decided to write a book using the interviews, using transcripts from those interviews, obviously with permission and so on. And he wrote a book about the experience, about the illness, the problems they had, and how different medical professionals can help in different ways. Now, that was a very successful book for him, and his outcome, he made it a business. His outcome then was to go out there and speak at various events. He was, in fact, invited in medical conferences, for example. He could talk about his personal issue, health issue that a family member had, and he could talk about his book. And he actually got a very successful podcast around that topic. And with that was able to sell advertising. So he really made it into a business. So that experience, that particular personal experience, turned out using the book in a way that the book not only helps thousands of other people on that topic, that they can gain information and follow his journey through this health issue and how he got through that, and also read about the answers and the directions from medical professionals. So a very different scenario of an experience. Coming back again to what my main focus always is at the start, what's the outcome you have in mind? So writing about an experience that you have had or a person has had, wanting to put that into a book, think very clearly first, what can you achieve by writing about it? Now, in comparison, writing about an expertise is very different. It still requires to start with your outcome in mind, but it's very different. So we have got somebody here. She wrote on LinkedIn for HR professionals. Now, that's a very successful book because it is specifically directed at HR professionals. This is a coach. She coaches on LinkedIn, how to use LinkedIn for HR professionals. Now, originally, before the book was written, this person was merely promoting herself as a LinkedIn coach. But after looking at outcome in mind for the book, which always also includes looking at the outcome and what the business itself, the coaching business or consulting business that the person has, is all about, then she went away from just being a LinkedIn coach or a coach around helping professionals on LinkedIn to set themselves up in a better way to gain clients. She focused then on HR professionals. So using her expertise, putting that into the book and making it very specific to a readership or a target audience is very different and had the outcome of gaining coaching clients, bringing clients, companies, HR professionals on board to work with her. Another one here, clearing brain fog and fatigue for women 45 plus. Now, same there, that is an expertise. This is a natural medicine practitioner. Now, the idea originally here was that she just wanted to write about generally helping women with all kinds of different ailments in a natural way, which is a very broad experience. Great. But we got her to focus on particularly the expertise around women 45 plus that are coming with these words to her: brain fog, fatigue, not getting anywhere, still need to work, want to work, but are not getting anywhere because these things are happening. So this is a very clear expertise that this natural medicine practitioner put into a book with the direction of the people getting to know how this expertise she has works, how she works with clients, and guiding them through the book as they get to know her and how she does things with women, guiding them to come to her. Now, very successful way of using expertise in a book and having an outcome other than book sales. And then we have here unlocking the power to inspire in leaders. So this is a leadership coach focused originally on generally leadership coaching, or sometimes it is executive coaching or coaching executive leaders. So those areas can be very often approached very broadly by people in that industry of that expertise. They are often not initially prepared to narrow down, particularly in a book, to bring their expertise into one specific area. So with this particular coach here, his real focus, which came out in the talking and discussing about the outcome that he had in mind. This is where it comes about when talking with clients and taking them through the program from that angle. We really discovered here, and he discovered himself, that the inspiration, working creatively, tapping into one's own creativity, and we are talking here male, inspiration in males predominantly is what he was working with, not so much the female. I think we sort of are much more in tune and aware of inspiration and intuition and creativity. But he was focusing on this particularly around leadership coaches in companies who found that their approach to the team just wasn't working. They weren't getting everybody on the same page, so to speak. So his book on unlocking the power to inspire in leaders was just right for him, and got him the contracts with the companies he was looking to engage in and get his foot in the door for. So after all of these details and talking about this, hopefully in enough detail for you to understand, the difference between experience and expertise, as I interpret it in writing a book, is you can have had an experience, and it might be something really useful, something powerful that is very worthwhile sharing with others. But it comes down to the planning of how exactly are you going to put it into a book, with what outcome in mind. How are you going to roll the purpose of your experience to share it with others out in the book? Simply starting and writing about it is not a great way, because often that does not make a very powerful book. Using expertise, professional expertise, a person that you are already helping people with, and then narrowing it down into one particular area with your book and focus on, here we have HR professionals, here we have the women 45 plus, and here we have got those leaders that want to inspire their teams. They want to have more creativity, learn through creativity to inspire their teams, is very important. So again, it comes down to what is to be achieved. What is the outcome the writer wants to achieve? So what I ask you to is, if there are any questions on this, ideally pop them in below the video here and leave me those questions and I will answer those. The best way is just to pop them in there, or you can contact me directly if you have any questions specifically to your situation or to your experience or expertise, perhaps. So just to wrap it up one last time, the difference I see between experience and expertise when it comes to writing a book about one or the other. And sure, let me just put this one point in here. Of course, you can put an experience together with the expertise. You know, it's a sandwiching of it. Of course, that can be done. That's a different scenario somewhat. Again, I don't have an example for that here. I was focusing here on how the experience book may not be the right way to go with an experience. There are other ways. I don't want to talk about those right now, makes it too long. There are other ways how an experience like this can be taken out there into the market to help people, if that's what you wish to do. The expertise, certainly, but focus from a general LinkedIn coach or natural medicine, focus from the generality to a very specific topic and readership, target market. That's it. That's what I wanted to share with you on the topic of experience versus expertise in writing a book. Which is it to be for you?